Deputy Attorney General Sram Sai abe mas shocking revelation me ho adwene me. Say amanfo threaten so mbokunu. Na in fact, omo me prosecution witness omo di adanse e chama Wontumi cases ni bi no. Omo hia ho bamba because omo so ye threaten wo. Obujafo we expose one or two ya me pese obetie full video no. No ho nkofo okomasem right here on Sokatwa show. Enye easy o. Ghana Hanum say atentene ne enya asem kitwa kra. Memo video ni nyina in the moment. Before that, subscribe. We are bell notification icon button and video ni drop here on Sabaka free to leave your comment in the comment section. Share link in for fro and your be a share. Little flower green clean solutions that are can show say and a period you cleaning company. I'm a preferences you fear on office church bank institution. I saw them more. I'm higher command. I'm a short friend number snake goose screens and you can craving trying you pull and from my multiply and yasam get a crowd. Back home access.com about Ghana for more on it. Me pacho wuni Ghana hanti u project na ekoso na dan na wusi no abusafo asase na apesa okotoro oba na wosku Wontumi enkosra no Wontumi fo ni wawe nkohwe ye professional group ye register ye nkwane ye Wontumi ese ye bekwa akodi sa adwuma no e de amount you the friend number na go screen and log on to backhome.access.com na place your request ye bekwa asase ne so na ba bia dan na dube ya come recreate your videos pictures any report ye be send the ade amount asase na apesa okotoro e bia asase wa no wonka no kra nchiro edanwuram emme kwa ho edansuom ye kohwe ye betwa be ka monukwe actually ete se wankasa wo Ghana Hanum say na wodi wani akwakwhwe abusafo ye nkoni nkwete Deputy Attorney General Justice Sram Sai threat e kono so no enya.
I believe the Supreme Court would uphold the practice, which is that vacation judges should be allowed to do their work as they have always been doing, and that there's no rule of practice or any tradition which allows lawyers to determine the pace of the court. I mean, in this case, as you said, I want it to continue. Counsel on the other side doesn't want it to continue. So there's a conflict at the bar. Why do we have judges to resolve that conflict? And so it cannot be that the courts expect that lawyers will sit in their chambers and decide that they will not come to court because it's legal vacation. And by that, then their position holds. It doesn't work that way anywhere. And let me just add to this. And this is in respect of the Eduboyan case. And at the end of this explanation, it should be clear to you what the goal is about all this legal vacation. So, as far as the Eduboyan case is concerned, our last witness has been in the box for how many weeks? Almost 6 or 7 weeks of cross-examination, which is extremely long. The judge has had the occasion to caution counsel that if you don't end this your cross-examination, I'm going to compel you to end because it's been overly long. Now, by negotiation at the bar as usual, the judge gave counsel 4 days. That was before the legal vacation. Defense counsel has used 3 of those 4 days. The only thing left is 1 more day for him to finish. And when he completes, what's going to happen is that the court will adjourn and give them 2 weeks. Minimum of 2 weeks to file their submission of no case because we have closed our case. That doesn't require you to come to court at all. After the 2 weeks, when we are served, we're also given a period of time, usually 2 weeks or more, to also respond to their submission of no case. That also doesn't require that anybody comes to court. That's 1 month already. That's even if the judge takes the minimum period. That's 1 month. So August would have been gone without anyone coming to court. Now, after that, the judge will adjourn to consider our various submissions. Usually we'll give a week or 2. That takes us to middle of what? September. Then the judge will come and give a decision, a ruling on the submission of no case. If the judge upholds the submission of no case, that ends the case. The accused person is happy and is gone home and the case is over. So if it's about good faith, I believe that as a defense counsel, we should be interested in how soon this will end so that we even have more space next legal year. But that is not the case. Now, let me take the other side. If the court holds that the submission of, dismisses the submission of no case and directs the accused person to open their defense, this is what's going to happen. The judge is bound to give the accused person 3 weeks to file their defense. That takes us into what? October. Still, this doesn't require you to come to court to do any business. Then, after you file your defense, that's witness statement for your witnesses, then the court will set another day for what we call case management conference, which is usually another 1 week. So, even with this Eduboyan case, if the court is allowed to proceed as it's supposed to, there will be only 1 day in the legal vacation that there will be any court proceedings. The rest will just be filing, ruling, counter filing up to like November. So if counsel is telling me that he has booked so many things and that he's so busy that he can't do one more day, and yet is filing other cases in other courts, it tells you what is at play here. And it's not, it is not a question of legal vacation or not. It is a defense strategy. Whether for good or bad, that I leave that to the listeners.
But basically, you say defense strategy to delay the case.
That is my candid opinion on this, because I don't see why 1 day of cross examination should be dragging us into this, especially when you are in other courts working and filing processes.
And Thursday, the Supreme Court will decide this and put some finality to the matter. Let's deal with some other oral cases. And before we come to specific oral cases, Wontumi, you succeeded in securing a conviction. He's behind bars now. He has filed an appeal, but he's also filed a process to get him out pending the hearing of the determination of the appeal. You filed to object.
Yeah.
Very strongly. Why? I mean, he's already been convicted. You know,
opposing such application is actually in the interest of the accused person. Accused persons, of everyone likes liberty. But think of a situation where you have been sentenced, you have served, let's say, a month, and then you are granted bail pending appeal. So you come and spend maybe 3 months or 6 months outside, and then the appeal fails. You go back to serve your sentence. You get the point. That is a psychological, there's literature on this part of it. So judges, unless there are exceptional circumstances, so for example, case of severe illness or some health issue or some very important matter, so we call it exceptional or special circumstance, then the court will grant you, but they will not grant you bail pending appeal merely because you disagree with the decision. If you look at the affidavit they filed, all they are saying is that they disagree with the decision and they stated grounds on which they disagree. That does not occasion any special circumstances that will allow you to come out pending the appeal. And so when it was pretty easy for us, because there were situations where, if you take, I think Ato Asian, who is on bail pending, I think he was put on bail pending appeal because there were severe health issues that were apparent on the face of the affidavit. This one has no such thing. It simply says, grant me bail to be out there because I won't run away. So let me be out so that you decide the appeal. It's pretty easy for the prosecution. So when we sought advice from our attorneys, they said, no, there's no sufficient, there's no special circumstance to warrant an accused person to be brought out. And then later when the appeal fails, you take him back in to start the sentence. So
an appeal can take quite a while to resolve. So you're expecting that he's going to be behind bars until that is determined on appeal.
Yeah, so the thing about appeal is that it is the appellant's job to fast track appeals. So appeals work in 2 ways. If I am the appellant in this case and I'm the accused person's lawyer or the convict's lawyer, I will do everything to fast track the appeal because these are the timelines. Once you file your appeal, the first thing you do is to compile records of appeal from the lower courts, and then you forward it to the appellate court. That is entirely in your hands. If you want to wait for 2 months to compile it, because the registries, they don't go on vacation, so they can compile it anytime for you to. So depending on how you fast track that, your appeal will end up in the court of appeal sooner than anybody would think. And then when is there are timelines. Once there's something called Form 6, or that's in civil case, but in criminal there's no such, it's a different process. But you go to the court summons you, you come there, and then they give you timelines. And usually it's just 21 days for you, the appellant, to file your address. You can file it on day 1. Instead of waiting for the 21 days, you can file it on day 1 and serve it on your other party. The respondent has 21 days from the day of service. So if you want it fast, you can file it on day 1.
Have you been served that?
No.
You've not been served.
The record is not even in the court of appeal.
Okay.
As far as we know, nobody has, the record is not before the Court of Appeal. So another side of the case is that if you secure, it's like a client who secures an injunction and then goes to sleep. So you are building on my land or on a land that is in dispute, and I go for an injunction against you. I know deep down that I don't have, title, but I just want to frustrate you. Once I get an injunction, I go to sleep. And then the injunction is working against you while I sit down and cross my legs. So it's possible that you can get bail pending appeal, and he will refuse to move forward appeal, and the record will stay in the High Court. He's on bail. And then it delays the process. So appeals could actually be fast-tracked depending on the council's interest.
So you're saying you're waiting for Wontumi to fast-track his own process as far as the hearing of the appeal matter is concerned?
No, it's
entirely in his hands. And you haven't been served yet with the...
No, it's only when we accept that we take a step. So we will sit down and wait for them to. If they do it today, the court will even give us a period within which to respond. And we cannot even drag it, because if you don't respond, the effect is that the court will decide the case without your response.
Out of the court, and this is just, by the way, he's also been rendering apologies, to the president, and, appealing to the president to intervene, and that if he's wronged him in the past, he's sorry, his aides have been saying it. Does that count for anything?
I think there is a certain culture which I find disturbing. People still behave or don't believe that the judiciary is not under the control of the executive. That is what informs such, things as apology. So you have been charged with specific offenses. The judiciary has heard you, they've convicted you. You have maintained throughout the trial that you are innocent. You have even filed an appeal. Now, I'm not saying don't apologize to people that you believe you have wronged. But if the apology is engineered to secure an overturning of a court's decision, then what you are doing or suggesting is that the president has power to actually cause the courts to decide one way or the other.
Or pardon him, maybe.
Fine, pardon, but I don't think pardon has a process. People don't see the process for pardon. Pardon, after you send your petition to the president refers the petition to the Attorney General's department. We look at it, we refer to the prison service, they also look at it, and they all write reports. So often you hear that the president has pardoned these people. It's not that you just tell the president gets up to say, I'm pardoning them. No, there's an elaborate process that goes on underground. I don't think the president, I'm not in the office of the president, but the president has not informed us that he has received an application for pardon. So that case, the apology is not intended to secure a pardon, but intended to get the president to influence the judiciary one way or the other to let him go. And I think that is unfortunate because as far as I know, the president doesn't have that power to direct judges as to how they should decide. If such a power exists, I'm not aware.
Out of curiosity, in this country, made the point that when somebody is put before court, due process is applied, and the person is punished, you tend to get all manner of people calling to appeal and plead. Have you received any calls, chiefs, pastors? They are anybody.
Well, the work I do, I have taken some oaths and oaths of secrecy, so I don't think it's something I'm allowed to disclose. No, not
disclose who, but people just randomly. Pastors called you. They want to pray for you so that you do something.
People even threaten you. People threaten you with all manner of things, and you receive such threats every day. The mere fact that you are doing your work can cause someone to just hate you, and some threaten violence, death, and all manner of things. Some try to even carry them out, but it's not everything that we talk about.
Have you been a victim of that, a target of any of those sins? Because this is a major conviction. People are very upset.
Every day, someone somewhere is unhappy and is.
So have you received threats on your life?
Of course.
Has it gone up or reduced since Wontumi's conviction?
It's actually gone up. Our witnesses are every day threatened with.
The two of them?
Yeah.
The two.
Yeah.
Star witnesses for you.
And even the police investigators who testified and all, It threatens everybody.
I see.
So but I think it comes with a job.
I mean, because I'm a manager, Joe, I know how severe the threats were and how direct. In your case, were they mere, sometimes we're just joking. How serious do you take those threats?
I take each of them very seriously.
What were they? Was it to kill you?
It includes that.
Were they sent to your phone or text messages or somebody told you?
It comes in various forms. And so, but I don't think it's important for us to, because if we follow that to, then it means people will use such threats to secure freedom to continue to do that which the law prevents. So I think, and it's not only me, my attorneys receive such threats every day. And not only in this case, other cases as well. Murder cases, armed robbery cases, judges receive their share of the threats. It counts with
How do you stay safe? I mean, especially as you made the point on the back of the conviction, you've seen an increase in the threats. How do you stay safe?
God is the protector of man, and I believe God protects me as well. You know, of course, because I mean, no matter what you do, the state cannot commit a certain level of security to.
I mean, in our case, a private organization, we invested in taking the people out of the jurisdiction. You are still sitting here.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That
well, so you must definitely take beyond the prayers and God's protection.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely physical, natural protection, and then I refer to God because that's the supernatural one. But the point I'm trying to make is that your protection, you can get the physical one, but even that, there's a limit to which you can, as a minister, a deputy minister, because the protection comes in levels. The president's protection level is higher because of the same reason, threats. The state cannot spend money on me as they're spending on the president's security. And obviously, the attorney who is conducting the case or assisting us to conduct this case will not get the same protection as I am getting. The point I'm making is that there is a limit to how much physical protection you can get. And even that is never enough because human beings can do so many things. So I would, for my own peace of mind and everything, I discount the physical one, even though, yes, it's good. And just so I can sleep, I commit myself to
in the hands of the Lord.
Yes.
And those two star witnesses, are they getting any police protection?
Yeah, we've given them police protection.
Then the threats must have been very severe against them. Just wrapping up on Wontumi, he has another case now, the 30 million Exim Bank. That is an oral case.
Yes, it's an oral case.
The last time this was adjourned to allow you to finish the negotiations, I believe there's a plea bargain there.
Yeah.
They made an offer that you rejected.
Yeah.
Are you making progress?
We regrouped again to negotiate further, but I can announce that too has not made we've not made much progress because what we think is sufficient, the other side said either they don't have it or so
it's 30 million. How much are you asking them to pay?
That would be the details of the negotiation, which is without prejudice and it's also covered by confidentiality. So it's enough for me to say that we have decided that we'll proceed with the case. So once the legal vacation is over, we will proceed with the trial. The law allows us to still have that conversation alongside the trial. So even though I would say we are still negotiating, we think that we have reached a point where we would have to proceed. If along the way we arrive at a fair conclusion or decision or plea deal, it's just a matter of informing the courts and then it ends. Otherwise, we don't want to spend time talking about this while
So you were not rejecting or closing the door to a plea bargain.
Yeah.
But you would focus on the trial.
Precisely.
While this other, plea bargain arrangements still happen.
Precisely.
But what you said is very clear that you know what you want from the plea bargain.
Yeah.
You put it before them and their counter offer doesn't meet it.
Doesn't meet it at all.
At all.
Yeah, significantly below what we are expecting. So we will proceed. And like I said, I think you put it even more accurately that we'll proceed with the trial while having this conversation on the side. If we reach a deal, we announce to the court that we have reached a deal. Otherwise, we
and educate me on plea bargain. Does it mean that the accused would have to plead his guilt and accept his guilt in the matter?
Not necessarily. It depends.
And that if we reach an agreement, does that presuppose that he is accepted that he's guilty?
Yes. So there are options.
Okay.
There's one where he doesn't need to plead guilty before the court, so we can withdraw the charges completely based on the plea bargaining. So the Attorney General can negotiate and say, okay, you have caused us 30 million CD loss. We think that if you give us 60 million, that's times 2. We can drop the charges and then accept the 60 and let you go. And there are so many factors that I'm just simplifying.
Yeah.
There are so many
hypothetical.
Factors, yes, there are so many factors that go into this plea bargaining. But there's an option where Attorney General can withdraw charges and then let the person go. So you have seen that in a number of cases we have withdrawn charges and we have converted accused persons to prosecution witnesses. So those accused persons are not going to be tried and they don't need to plead guilty, but they are giving us more things than we probably would have achieved.
You got something in exchange.
Yes, so if you take the Wontumi, the witnesses, the 2 witnesses, for instance, they did not just forfeit the mining equipment and the gold and the things that were confiscated. They also said in addition to that, they testified on our behalf. They testified in defense of our case against the accused person, and we found that valuable.
I'm going to take a break. When I return, we'll talk about the other big oral cases. It's been a while since we heard anything from the NSS trial. We'll also talk a bit about that, and I can get him to update you on what is happening and the other oral cases, what's happening to them. And we'll also talk about the Sedna Tamaklo case. And the accusation is that we told you so. She is now currently out of the cells and possibly at home. How did that come about when the Attorney General's Department was very clear that they were going to fight that case that she won? The Deputy Attorney General is still my guest. Back after this. Justice Stremsai. Justice, thanks for agreeing to talk to us. Let's do some of the other oral cases. We've obviously talked about Duboahen, which is now frozen pending the determination by the Supreme Court. We've also talked about the Hanan case, which is also frozen now, I guess, because of the same matter. But then there's the NSS, the National Service corruption case. What's the update on that?
Yes, so even before the national, allow me to just give a brief of where we are with the Duboahen.
Okay.
So in the Duboahen, the allegation is actually a straightforward case. Sometimes when I read things about it in the media, I wonder whether it's the same case that, or when I listen to defense counsel's press conferences and he meets the press every day after court, and I listen to the analysis, I wonder whether it's the same case that is being presented to the public. But it's a simple case of stealing. Okay, the allegation is that the accused person, while working with a state agency, took monies belonging to the state, and let me call it, diverted them into his personal private account and spent them in a particular way. We have presented evidence of that act of stealing to the court. We have presented the checks that were used to transfer the monies into the private account. We have presented the details of the private account, clearly showing how the account belongs to the accused person instead of the state. We have shown that even the inscription, the payee, the person who is supposed to receive the amount on the check, was not the account, the name of the account that the money went into. Then we have shown how the money was spent, because when you spend money from a bank account, the bank statement shows that you took this money on this day and you did it. And the Yoko investigators have traced these monies. And one key thing about money is that when you spend it, it could be traced. So they gave us evidence of how the monies were actually spent. So if you see that maybe 2 million is withdrawn from the private account today, And then you see that the accused person goes to buy a property and he pays 2 million. And then things like that, up to the point where the money was, the account was depleted. And the bank even was suspicious of how the money was moving and raised red flags, which eventually caused the account to be closed. And the remaining of the money moved to another company. We traced to that company as well. So as far as we have concerned, we have put in the box witnesses who have testified to this. We have shown how the accused person basically misrepresented the purpose of the money when he transferred. When you transfer huge sums of money in a bank account, the bank will ask you, what's the purpose? Why are you moving this money? And there's a part of the form that you fill. We have shown how the accused person misrepresented that he was using the money to buy some equipment. And first of all, the money didn't go to the equipment buying company anyways. But we have shown how he attached invoices, from the so-called suppliers, which invoices we believe are fake, and we have shown to the court why the invoices were forged and fake. And people have come to testify to the effect that that invoice does not even exist in the database of the public institution that the equipment was supposed to be bought from. So we have put all this. So as far as we are concerned, this is what's going on in court. We've also seen, in trials, you can detect the accused person's defense from the way he or she is cross-examining your prosecution witnesses. So at a point, we noticed that the defense was trying to say that the monies were loans which the accused person advanced to the company, that's the state agency, and was taking the loan back. So that was part of the cross-examination up to a point. Then later we realized that the accused person was trying to say that the equipment was actually bought because they made requests on us to supply them, to allow them to go and to give them an inventory of the equipment at the National Signals Bureau, whether that equipment was part. We provided the inventory, that equipment was not part, so they abandoned that. Another point, they were trying to suggest that the so-called private account that we said, the account that has the details of the accused person and his wife as the owners, they were trying to say that those were national security accounts, and even that the accused person's wife was a national security operative. That also is abandoned. So we saw all these attempts to explain the transaction. And as I sit here, my analysis of this tells me that, okay, some of the explanations are inconsistent with some of them, because if you have actually bought the equipment, then that same money cannot be used as loan. You cannot explain the same money as loan that you have given because you have used the money to buy the equipment. So the defense is even inconsistent with itself. Then if it is national security account, it's simple. You can easily show that this is a national security account, and what we did is this. And you will not say that you actually bought the equipment, or you will not explain again that the same national security account is a loan that you have given. So if you look at the lines of defenses themselves, they are inconsistent with each other. So where we sit, I get the impression, myself and my team, we analyze this every day. And the impression we get is that it's like the defense is fishing, they are fishing for possible defense. So you try this, if it's not going right, you jump to the next one. That is what the impression we get. So when we see things on social media and media and the defense attorney is trying to explain, well, we don't do that. We don't speak to the journalists every day after court, but it amazes us that it's happening that way. So we are on track. We have one more day for cross-examination of our last witness. After that, we believe that the court, that's our side of the story, we believe that the court would uphold that we have satisfied the threshold and will call on accused person
to open their defense.
Then we'll see what really the defense is, because at least cross-examination, they've given us indication of where they want to go, which I said were inconsistent. But maybe when the defense is open, they may bring some particular strong defense. Why not? Our job is never to force people to be jailed. If you have a good defense, why not? You should be allowed to, and we don't consider it as win or lose.
Back to the NSS.
Yes, NSS.
What happened to it?
Yes, so NSS, see, the NSS has so many, we have split the case into several dockets. Right now, 2 of the dockets are before the courts. The others that are waiting to be put before the court. That is the Gift Yowari and then Osayasibe. Those ones are before the court. In Gift Yowari, the trial is ongoing. We have called, I think our last witness is, witness number 4 is in the box. Is in the witness box before the legal vacation. Like I mentioned, I spoke to the accused person's lawyer today, and they are not conducting, that case is not part of the it's not being conducted during the vacation. That's what he tells me. So the legal vacation has stalled that one as at now. Osayasibe is also paused by the legal vacation, but the last time we're yet to complete CMC, case management conference. But obviously because of the legal vacation, that also has stalled. So again, then it's not true that cases have been put to facilitate oral. Some oral cases are not being conducted in the legal vacation. So that's for NSS. The other dockets, which are not before court, we would put them before court subsequently. But I think we are focusing on these 2 for now. Then you mentioned another case.
So there's a NSS. We've talked about the Hanan.
Yeah. Yes, Hanan. Where we are with Hanan, we are done with.
That's a buffer stock.
Buffer stock. Yeah, buffer stock. The allegation is also quite straightforward if you ask me. So Hanan is the was the CEO of the buffer stock. What our investigation discloses is that he had this practice where he would take monies for belonging to NAFCO and put it into the bank account of a private company, not a private, sole proprietorship, which is private, and classify it as the sole proprietor having supplied buffer stock with food. Buffer stock will buy food from people and supply them to secondary schools. So the investigations show that this food supply were not actually done, but he ends up paying money from NAFCO to this person, and then he goes behind to collect the money from the person. So basically, that's the business model. Let me put it that way. So he takes the money, pretend that it's money being paid for food supply when no actual food supply was done. Then he goes behind to collect the money from the person. Now, this person who is helping him do this is our witness, and he tells us that this is what was happening. He has his own sole proprietorship, which has a bank account. Sometimes monies land in the account. He doesn't know what he has done to receive those monies. He receives a call from Hanan, and then that I've sent this money, so issue this check or transfer this money to this. So this person is our witness and is testifying to this effect. Then the banking officer, who is the relationship officer to both this person, and in fact, it was the accused Hanan who actually advised this our witness to open his bank account, a new bank account with his bank, and assign the same relationship officer to this witness's business. So it was easy because then the bank official would then facilitate the process for moving the money from this account to other accounts, some of which belong to his wife. That's why his wife is also standing trial, because some of the monies were put in other bank accounts which the wife was the owner. These 2 people who are key to the transaction are testifying for the prosecution. So when we hear other stories, we are still wondering, is it the same case that is being represented to the media? But where we have reached, we have done our disclosures, and trial was supposed to start, I think, in the last week of July. But one application after the other, we are in the vacation, and then the lawyer said they will not come to court at all, which is also part of the legal vacation issue. So if they had, but for this legal vacation issue, would have been, our first witness would have been in the box, and probably today they probably would have finished with cross-examining him and will be calling the second witness. We have just 3 witnesses that we want to call in this case.
Okay.
Now, this explanation should tell you why this legal vacation issue is becoming a big issue, but it serves a purpose. it is to prevent the trial from going.
You said earlier to delay. And the final one is the Sky Train.
Yes, Sky Train, we have finished, we have closed our case. We did so, I think, in May. The defense have filed submission of no case.
Which has been dismissed.
Yes, has been dismissed. And they were asked to file their defenses within 21 days since then. The 21-day lapsed, and they did not file their defense. Rather, they brought an application for stay of proceedings and all that. The judge endorsed them, heard application for stay of proceedings, dismissed it, and still asked them to file within 21 days. I think the 21 days expires this week, and then we'll go back to court on 24th to conduct CMC in respect of their
24th will still be due to legal vacation, but
yes.
No issue there.
Yes, but CMC, even if we go by their standard, CMC is not actual trial. It's still one of those preliminary matters. So we'll conduct CMC, and depending on further direction from the judge, we will begin they will open their defense and start calling their witnesses. Even that case, they are also petitioned the Chief Justice to stop that judge from, working during the legal vacation. And you are wondering, why is it that only these cases or these lawyers, they are the only ones interested in judges not working in the legal vacation?
Deputy Attorney General Justice Remsai and Abusafo Motin in Kano. Hey, Charlie Ghana. Yes, but I mean, the part that I love most, the fact that more idea dancing. You provide security, tight security more. I want to believe that the Attorney General, that he knows that. I mean, obviously, ensure attending not on our media or minor cases in India. One or two threats will come. I'm not condoning that, but it is what it is. Inti mumbo mo home become who here. What the mechanism, especially the witnesses na use so many. Omu ya pa. Ni kwa siya do omu protection area grow. Ya da masa mo share radio on Sokatwa show. Mo so for Steve Zando ni masa anybody share with me and chakra. Bye bye.